We're starting today by looking into a really tragic event that's just unfolded.
Yes, it's Thursday, June 12th, 2025, and we're talking about the crash of Air India flight AI-171 in Ahmedabad, India. Just awful news.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, we're focusing specifically on the initial report from CBS News.
Our mission really is just to unpack what CBS has reported so far, pull out the key facts, the first pieces of information coming out of this.
And for you listening, getting a handle on these initial confirmed details is, well, it's crucial. It helps frame the situation, understand the immediate aftermath of such a rare disaster.
And the complexities that just immediately spring up,
Okay, let's get into what the CBS report tells us about the flight itself. We're talking Air India flight AI-171.
And the plane was a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner.
Right. It was supposed to fly from Ahmedabad, India to London Gatwick.
The report says it took off Thursday afternoon, about 1:38 p.m. local time.
But the crash happened incredibly soon after.
Yeah, that's striking. CBS says about 5 minutes after takeoff, and they mentioned flight radar data showing the last signal just seconds after it left the ground.
Seconds.
Yeah.
That's almost immediate. It points to something happening very, very suddenly.
Definitely. And the flight path details are just as stark. It went southwest, but only a short distance.
Reached a maximum altitude of, what was it, 625 feet?
Just 625 feet, according to the barometric reading reported. And then, well, it started coming down.
Which leads us to the crash site itself, the western Indian city of Ahmedabad.
And the report is specific. It slammed into buildings in a residential area.
And hitting a residential area, I mean, the consequences go way beyond the aircraft itself. How many people were on board?
The source states 242. That's passengers and crew combined.
Okay. And do we know about nationalities?
Yes. The report lists them. 169 Indian, 53 British, 7 Portuguese, and 1 Canadian citizen.
And there was some initial confusion about survivors, wasn't there? That seems common in these situations, but it stood out here.
It really did. CBS notes that a senior police official initially told the Associated Press, no known survivors? Just flat out.
Well, thank you.
But then later, the report says 2 other officials and India's news agency, ANI, reported something different. They said one man who had been on the plane survived and was being treated at a hospital.
So, conflicting information right away. Did Air India clarify?
Not immediately. The report mentioned Air India said they had no further confirmation on that single survivor. It just highlights how chaotic things are on the ground in those first hours, trying to get accurate info out.
Yeah, absolutely. And the impact on the ground itself.
Yeah.
Hitting buildings.
Yeah.
Officials feared casualties there, too.
Oh, absolutely. The report says they feared numerous casualties on the ground, and it gets specific part, and the plane actually hit the dining area of a place called BJ Medical College.
Oh, no. A college dining area.
Yes, and the report details the tragic outcome there. At least 5 medical students killed.
Just awful.
And injuries. Nearly 50 people injured who were inside that building. Some critically, the report adds.
And the fear that more people might be trapped.
More people feared buried in the debris. That phrase was in the report. It paints a grim picture of the rescue scene.
The source also mentioned a prominent individual who was killed.
Yes. Former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani. He was described as a grassroots leader who focused on state development. His death really underscores the widespread impact of this.
Okay, moving on to the immediate response. What did the CBS report say about how, say, the airline and the manufacturer reacted?
Well, it included a statement from Air India's CEO, Campbell Wilson. He emphasized investigations take time.
Right, that's standard. Caution against speculation.
Exactly. He stressed sharing accurate and timely information, not speculation. Said they owe that to everyone involved. The report also notes they're working around the clock, supporting families, supporting investigators.
And sending a special team.
Yeah, a special team of caregivers to Ahmedabad. Seems like a focused effort on the human side.
And
Boeing's response, as reported, was that they're in contact with Air India, ready to support and, expressing condolences. Standard procedure, but important.
But there was a specific detail from Boeing's own data mentioned in the source about the aircraft type.
Ah, yes. That was significant. The report cited Boeing's April 2025 statistical summary.
Yeah.
It stated this incident was the first of its kind for the 787-8 Dreamliner. The first.
Wow. For that specific model, that's a really key piece of context.
It really is. Now, on the ground, the emergency response sounds like it was immediate and substantial.
Yeah, the report mentioned firefighters on the scene right away. And the military got involved.
The Indian Army deployed at least 130 personnel. That includes doctors, paramedics, assisting the civil authorities, combing through debris, treating the injured. A major operation.
And reactions from leaders.
Yes, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was quoted. He said the tragedy has stunned and saddened the nation, called it heartbreaking beyond words. He confirmed he was in touch with officials.
And internationally.
The UK Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, was also mentioned, describing the scenes as devastating. Understandable, given the number of British citizens on board.
Okay, so with the immediate rescue and response underway, attention obviously turns very quickly to why. Who's leading the investigation according to CBS?
India's government is in charge. Specifically, the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. That's their NTSB equivalent, essentially.
Right. But these things often involve international help, don't they? Especially with a U.S.-made plane.
Absolutely. And the report confirms that. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB, they will be leading a team of U.S. investigators traveling to India to assist.
And the FAA?
The Federal Aviation Administration is also involved, reportedly ready to launch a team immediately if India requires it. So international cooperation is already kicking in.
The report also included a comment from an aviation consultant, John M. Cox.
Yes, and his perspective was useful, I think. He stressed it's very, very, very early, this tempering expectations.
Right. Not a whole lot is known yet, basically.
Exactly. But he also pointed out something really important about the Boeing 787 itself.
Which was?
That it has very extensive flight data monitoring. We're talking thousands of parameters recorded.
Thousands. Okay, that's huge.
It is. And Cox's point was, once we get that recorder, they'll be able to know pretty quickly what happened. That data recorder is going to be absolutely critical.
So let's try and pull this together based purely on what this CBS News source has reported in these early stages. The picture is, well, it's a relatively new plane type, this 787-.
And it crashes just minutes after taking off from...
Slamming into buildings in a residential area. So devastating impact both on the plane and on the ground.
Significant loss of life confirmed. Passengers, crew, people in the buildings, including, those students and the former chief minister.
Some key details that really stand out from this initial report. That incredibly low altitude, 625 feet, before it started descending.
Yeah, that's really low. And the specific impact zone hitting the BJ Medical College dining area. Such a specific, tragic detail.
And the initial confusion over whether anyone survived, that really speaks to the immediate chaos.
Right. And also, that point from Boeing's data, this being the first incident of its kind for this specific Dreamliner model, that adds another layer.
So what this report gives us really is a snapshot. The scale of the immediate tragedy, the confirmed casualties, the locations hit, the nationalities involved.
And the first steps of the investigation, the international cooperation starting, and the heavy reliance that will be placed on recovering those flight recorders.
So this single source, this CBS report, it lets us grasp the sheer scale of the loss, the specific terrible impacts on the ground in Ahmedabad, the mix of people tragically involved.
And the beginning of what will surely be a very long and complex investigation process, just the very start.
And like the Air India CEO stressed, and the consultant implied, it will take time while we have these initial facts laid out by CBS.
The fundamental question, the why, remains completely unanswered right now. It's just too early.
And thinking about what that aviation consultant said about the thousands of parameters recorded on the flight data recorder, it just makes you pause, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How much incredibly detailed second-by-second information is locked away in that device right now, just waiting to tell the story, reveal the sequence of events that led to such a catastrophic failure so incredibly quickly after leaving the ground.